What better place for that to stop?
The Halo TV show is cancelled. The Halo TV show is over. It's all finished. We're not seeing Master Cheeks anymore. That's what I'm seeing majoritively across social media at the moment. But it's not entirely accurate. And to those of us who've been paying attention, it also really doesn't come as a surprise, but perhaps not for the reasons that you might think. Hey everyone, welcome back to Installation 00, and news has dropped that apparently the Halo TV show has been cancelled, which isn't accurate. Now, the show's been very divisive. Broadly, I'm in support of the show. Does that mean that I think that it's a flawless, shining gem of a product? No. Should there have been parts of Season 1 that shouldn't have happened at all? Absolutely. Were there parts of Season 2 that I didn't particularly like, or didn't make sense, or I thought could have been done better? Yes, of course. For example, the decision to kill off Keyes, Admiral Keyes, but Captain Keyes, in the actual Reach episode, I really wasn't on board with that, and it made me wonder just what the hell that meant for the long-term story that was then going to be told, because Keyes is a very instrumental aspect of the events of Halo CE. With him dying beforehand, what does that mean for a lot of the plot points that would have or should have happened during the events of the Battle of Alpha Halo? I also still don't think that the Spartan 3s, or the soldiers wearing SPI armor, are actually Spartans at all. The romance and sex scene from Season 1 really shouldn't have happened, but it did. So there are aspects of both Season 1 and Season 2 which I don't particularly understand, or I don't like, or I think could have been done better, but on the whole I still am a supporter of the show. I mean, particularly for Season 2, the theming, the undertones of the effects of war and PTSD, and the human story being told, the reveal of the Flood, was phenomenally done. The CGI in this one was much, much better than in Season 1. All of these aspects were fundamentally very good, and it has the bones, the skeleton of a fantastic show. There are just these little things that are going on with the show, and unfortunately it's a rocky start, which is somewhat tarnishing its reputation. But that really isn't what today's video is about. So, in truth, Paramount Plus have dropped the show. Now, this doesn't mean that the show is cancelled, it means that the service provider that are hosting it are no longer in a position that they either want to or can host the show. And I think it's the latter. Now, many people were saying that the show was dropped because it wasn't popular, people didn't like it, it got a lot of hate, a lot of throwback, there was a lot of vitriol surrounding it. People blame a failed show, poor writing, a bad showrunner. All of these examples are things that people are circulating quite a lot at the moment on social media, but I still, if you pay attention to what's going on behind the scenes, I still don't think that's really the reason. And it is very important to understand what's going on behind the scenes from a business point of view. So Paramount Plus is actually a relatively new streaming platform. It was only established in 2014, and of course it came into a seriously oversaturated market with huge amounts of competition. Paramount Plus was the new kid on the block and was competing with the likes of Disney, Netflix, Prime, Roku, Now TV, Hulu, Apple TV, and literally dozens of others, all of which being tried and tested streaming platforms with very, very big IPs that are immensely popular on their respective platforms. And again, if you pay attention to what's going on, it's not unusual for things like this to experience growing pains, some financial issues early on in their development. Particularly with things like streaming platforms, it's not unusual for there to be a negative cash flow at the start of the streaming platform, and it's reliant upon getting those customers kind of through the door to subscribe and to keep them on board in order to pay for the work that you've already paid money out of your pocket to do. Paramount Plus would have had to have been funding and financing new shows to be developed and to go into production, so they had something to offer when their platform launched. But of course, they had no customers in order to pay for it, so they had to borrow the money or front the money in some regard, and then hope that they could get the customers through the door to offset the cost. Paramount Plus, they went through a merger with Skydance, and they're also currently in talks about going into a merger with HBO Max. They are big business moves that require a lot of moving parts and, unfortunately, a lot of money to execute. The very fact that Paramount Plus are looking for a streaming partner suggests that their cash flow isn't where it should be, and these big financial moves means that Paramount Plus have to tighten their belts. They have to make cost cuts. And Halo is a very expensive show to produce. In reality, Halo is actually one of the most streamed shows in spite of being on a relatively new and unproven streaming platform. And by the most streamed shows, I don't mean on Paramount Plus, although that is also true. I mean across all streaming platforms. Halo was seemingly pulling between 3 to 5 million views per episode. Now, given that Halo really is somewhat of a niche franchise, so to speak, and it was on a very small and new and unproven streaming platform, the fact that it was pulling in numbers that were comparable to The Mandalorian really says something for just how widespread and how popular the show had become. So really, when you take all of this into consideration and what Paramount Plus are doing business-wise behind the scenes, so really it would appear that Paramount Plus are searching for streaming partners and dropping their #1 show because of costs. They just can't afford to produce a third season. And these mergers are a way to try to bolster their resources. But there still has to be cost-cutting measures to make that happen. So it might not be any of the reasons that are being circulated so predominantly across social media at the moment. It may literally just come down to brass tacks. So, in my humble opinion, what comes next? Well, a new provider. The producers of the show have made it abundantly clear that they might be down, but they're not out. And they are looking for a new service provider. They're looking for someone to host their TV show. And again, in my humble opinion, Amazon Prime seems to be a fantastic fit. They've got a good track record with sci-fi shows, such as The Expanse. The Fallout series was fantastically popular. The Boys. These are all hugely successful shows. And of course, backed by Amazon Prime and their considerably deep pockets, Halo could be onto very good things. This is a bit of a setback, and it's a bit of a bummer for the production team and for the fans of the show, but that isn't the is-all and end-all of this story. And of course, the next thing I'm wondering is, assuming it gets picked up, say by Prime, as it's on a new platform, would Prime want to pick up where Paramount Plus left off? Or would they want to start their own kind of direction of things? Would they want to kind of reboot, effectively? And the answer is yes and no, I think. And the reason being is because of where the show left off. Season 2 finished with us arriving at Alpha Halo, before the actual main, quote-unquote, main story of Halo begins. This is the perfect opportunity, the perfect segue in the story for a new provider, be it Prime or somebody else, to do great things with the Halo franchise. Halo started in 2001 with the release of Halo CE, and it was that story which captivated millions that led to the franchise growing to the preeminence that it did. And the TV show's story stopped right at the beginning of that part of Halo's history. Could there have been a more ideal time for that to happen? What better place for a corporate giant such as Amazon Prime to pick up an IP like Halo? Bearing in mind they already have a proven track record of being good with sci-fi franchises, and they got the deep enough pockets to fully fund a show of Halo's production size and caliber. What better time for them to pick that show up than when the story is effectively about to begin, when the very namesake of the franchise is about to culminate. It's an ideal time to pick up the show, fully fund it, flesh out the writing a little bit more, use the talent that's already in situ, a lot of the prop work has already been done, and then run with a new narrative of the events of Halo CE, but narratively expanded to the nth degree, with the view in mind to continue it into numerous seasons. This is the prime position, excuse the pun, for the Halo TV show to really come into its own. Imagine the show being picked up. I mean, I'm going with Prime at the moment because it just seems like a good fit. But imagine the show being picked up by Prime, and the first episode that we get from Prime Halo, effectively, is a shot on the bridge of a Covenant assault carrier with Thel Vadam and Zuka Zamami revering, stood in reverence of the holy ring that is the central idea of their religion, and then discussing the dreaded demon before being interrupted by the unmistakable approach vector of a slip space jump. And then after some further establishing shots, the Pillar of Autumn drops out of slip space. And so begins the story of Halo CE, Halo the Flood if you've read the book, but expanded narratively, drawn out, basically a live action realization of what many of us hope a Halo CE remake, if the rumours are true, would be. In my humble opinion, that's just big wins all over. So ultimately, what's the takeaway from this? Paramount Plus, they've dropped Halo. That doesn't mean that Halo has been cancelled, and I actually have it on good word that this did not come as a surprise to the production team. And it's abundantly clear that they're already on the search for a new host, a new provider. And really, argument could be made that there couldn't have been a better position in the story that was being told for something like this to happen. Right as the actual story of Halo was about to happen, at that point it was dropped, and then opens up the possibility for a big dog like Amazon Prime to step in and pick it up. That couldn't have been a better time for it to happen. Ultimately, whatever will be, and if it doesn't, so be it. But if Prime could just slide into their DMs and pick up the TV show, I genuinely think we have a good chance to actually have a Halo TV show that we can all love and celebrate. But I still want to hear your thoughts. You know what to do. You've got the comment section down below. Let me know what you think. Is this the ideal time for this to be happening? Are Prime a good fit? Do you have another provider that's in mind that would be a better fit for the Halo TV show? And do you want the Halo CE story to start being told, or do you want a continuation of what was already being established? Let me know in the comments down below, and until next time. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider hitting the subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out on future videos. Be sure to like the video if you did, and pop a comment below on what you'd like me to cover next. I just want to take a moment to thank my patrons, Spartan10148, the Metarch of my facility, Falcon, Sophia, Mikhail, Ashley, Jordan and Esoteric Sight, my dutiful monitors, Darian, Legions Lost, Lab Rat, Spartan0137, Jacob Kemp, Sean, Element Zero, J3, Mr. Keys, Gunslinger, Evermore, Personal Devil, Aldiaz, Toxic, Scion Esports, Gem Saber and Relentless, my diligent sub-monitors, my fleet of Strato Sentinels, my loyal enforcers, and all other patrons who continue to support the channel. If you want your name on the end of the video and some perks earned along the way, head over to Patreon and consider supporting the channel yourself. Big shout out to my Tier 0 Transcendent YouTube members, Spartan137, Jacob Kemp, Talia, Fenrir, Bornstella, Jimbo and Balaz, and all the other YouTube members keeping my installation running on that glorious vacuum energy, with a special mention to the Accursed Hunter. Shout out to John due to the mathematical formula used to determine the area within a pentadodecahedron. Oh, and Lena because that sandwich. And remember, there are tons of ways to support the channel and keep my installation pumping out content at a breakneck speed. Much love to you all, take it easy everyone, and find peace in the domain.